Tommy Toon Stories presents The Cryptilog, Episode 4, Leviathan. Hello, curious minds. My name is Mr. Crypt, and this is the Cryptilog. And we have a story that I came across in a forum months ago. I had the opportunity of reading the beginning briefly before losing track of it for a time. So, I will be reading it in full and recording for this new catalog of videos. While many of the stories I'll be cataloging are submitted via the Cryptilog website, this one I wanted to check out because it sounds oddly familiar. I thought about writing down this tale for a while, as the official story of what happened isn't what I know really happened. Ultimately, people I knew died, but the way they died differed greatly. I loved the ocean, always have, and I've worked on many fishing vessels. My life has always been dictated by fishing in the sea. And when I'd had the opportunity to work on a vessel in the Bering Sea, I knew this would be my most thrilling job of all. For a time, things went quite well. For context, I worked on the vessel known as the Silver Oyster. Not a terribly large ship, but she did the job of crabbing and salmon fishing quite well. Out of respect for those lost, I won't reveal names. But there were 23 others besides myself, all men, ranging in age from their 20s and 30s. And then the captain, who was 50 years old. That is to say, we were a varied crew, many with mouths to feed and ambitions to build toward. The incident happened on a Tuesday night while we were out crabbing for king crab, as it was the proper season. And for a time, things went okay. Not great, but we were getting results. But even before it began, I had this nagging feeling that something was amiss. The sea was a friend, or so I'd felt. Sure, she got rough in the winds and currents, but never felt malicious. Of course, that's me personifying the sea, but my point remains. Something felt wrong. The sea felt angry in a way that didn't feel natural. And when I looked out into the darkness, it felt like I wasn't just looking at the nightly expanse of the sea. Now, you could say that was just nerves, but I never got nervous out on sea. I've taken plunges into frigid water and faced hypothermia. Sure, I was scared of dying, but never the sea itself nor anything in it. In fact, I had a great fondness for creatures many would consider frightening. All that's to say, this feeling I was having didn't feel right. I kept it to myself, of course, but I think others felt the same. And as we ventured further into the fishing grounds, we noticed something odd. The normally turbulent waters began to settle into stillness, which for an area like that, at that time of day, well, I won't lie, it gave me chills. This was not normal. The captain slowed the boat as he too began to realize the oddity of the situation. And that was when we heard it. A strange sound that emanated from the sea, similar to that of a whale song, but deep, guttural, and twisted with what felt like malignant malice. Suddenly, our ship shook to the port side, sending members of the crew plunging into the frigid darkness. Raising the alarm, we scrambled to try and locate our fallen crewmates. However, just as quickly as they hit the water, Screams followed the plunges, and there was a terrible crunching sound that pierced the sounds of alarm. As we began to shine our lights to the water, we were greeted by blood and body parts. Amongst the bloody mess, a large black mass pierced the water like a sail. What I saw in the water looked to be a fin, similar to that of an orca, but much, much bigger. And with the light shining on the water's surface, it revealed a gigantic mass beneath it, around the size of a humpback, maybe bigger. We didn't have much of a chance to process the sudden shock and death, as the ship was assailed by another unseen impact. This time, from the very back end of the ship, as something seemed to ram into us. The ship spun, sending many either plunging into the sea, falling onto the deck, or were crushed by crab pots. Honestly, those crushed were the lucky ones. Just as before, more voices screamed out in terror before quickly being silenced by the sounds of crunching and tearing. Fortunately, I had managed to stay afoot, holding on the railing of the ship. Unfortunately, it also gave me a front row seat to see the face of our assailant and my crewmate's fate. The creature looked like a whale, although not any I'd ever seen. It had the coloration and body plan of an orca, with gashes and wound across its head, and an incredible size, around that of an adult humpback whale. But what stood out to me most were those damn eyes. It wasn't the eyes of an animal. Those eyes. This wasn't a creature feeding or defending territory. Sure, it was consuming flesh, but there was anger in the beast's eyes. It let out a terrible, blood-curdling scream. It sounded like it was crying out in pain. Then, in mere moments, the beast rose from the sea, leaping into the air. Its grayish-white underbelly was exposed as it began to cascade over the ship's hull. The beast intended to crush the boat, that much was obvious. Not that we had much of a chance to try and flee. Many screamed, others simply accepted what came next. Me? I screamed. Memory of what happened immediately after is fuzzy, and hard to remember exactly. But I do remember feeling cold, and hearing the sounds of those who survived being eaten alive. Some crunched. Another poor soul swallowed alive to be suffocated and burned alive in its belly. I'd found myself floating in the water, awaiting my eventual devouring. Then it came. The beast swam right up to me, staring at me. Seeing it up close, I could see that the creature was covered in a tar-like substance. Purple lines were in the white of its eye. Before I'd seen anger, now I saw sorrow. Then the creature sank beneath the dark, cold waters of the Bering Sea. When I awoke, I was in a Coast Guard vessel. I should be dead, with the rest of my old crew, joined with them in the belly of that beast, that Leviathan. To the rest of the world, the silver oyster was lost to sea due to bad weather. But in truth, I think, vengeance had been sought and delivered. It's just a shame we were caught in the crossfire. The silver oyster. I'd heard about the sinking of this vessel from my uncle, who was a commercial fisherman years back. It was a former whaling ship that had been repurposed and repaired by the son of the whaler's captain. He'd said that there was only one survivor, a man by the name of Eli Anders. When I looked into Eli, I found that he disappeared 5 years ago. Apparently, he took a trip out on Alaskan waters and never came back. I shudder to think if there is legitimacy to this story. Then perhaps some of the other missing ships claimed by the sea may have a connection to this creature, or maybe others as well. But that's all speculation based upon one story. Still, very interesting to think about. End of log. The Cryptilog is a horror fiction series written by and directed by Tommy Toon Stories. Narration is provided by Dreamrayz. Feel free to visit the description for social media links. See you next time for the next story.